guess my story is it's about a whole lot of disappointment that the devil threw my way from very from a very small child. Um, but I've learned that I'm I among others we're all predestined, and he taught me that. And so I'm going to try to sum it up quickly. I was actually born in Italy, and
The Roman band,
the which?
the Italian band.
Yes. Um, I was born in Italy, and I was raised by a single mom. Uh, my father was a police officer, and apparently he lost his life in the line of duty. And so that was probably my first disappointment. I never got to meet him. I never had a man in my life. Um, and from there, unfortunately, it just kept on going on a downward spiral. My mother put me in a boarding school, which was fine, except for I hardly got to see her. So I longed for family a lot. So that was another thing. That was another arrow from the enemy. And about the age of 8, my mother met my stepfather, which is supposed to be a good thing. Um, and so that's where my world started to change. Uh, we decided we were going to move to Canada. This is how I got here. Um, and all these promises were made. As a small child, you believe anything. And you're going to have a great life. In America, they used to, even Canada, in Italy, they call it America. You're American. And I'm like, no, I'm Canadian. Anyways, that's another story. But apparently the streets are paved with gold in America. And when I got here, I was really disappointed that they weren't. I was told many things, promised many things. You're going to do this. You're going to get signed up for soccer. You're going to see the world, right? So, but when I got here, unfortunately, I didn't have the best relationship with my stepfather. And I already didn't have a very good perception of Father or God for that matter. I feared God, but for the wrong reason, because I was brought up in a Catholic environment. So it was like very military. I feared. The boarding school I went to was run by nuns, and boy, they were tough. I took a few beatings there too. And so when I got here, like I said, I didn't really get along with him. All the things that were promised to me weren't fulfilled. And and of course, it also came with a lot of mental and physical abuse, verbal abuse. I think that probably does the most damage, because I believed a lot of it. A lot of the things that were told to me that I was told, you're not going to amount to anything. You're worthless. Among other things, I'm not going to get into it because I don't feel like crying. That's right. Well, I know that now, right? So I don't like to, I don't like to go back into that dirty old well. So, anyways, um, as my life went on and I grew to be a young man and teenager, obviously I rebelled. Rebellion set in. My faith was also tainted because, I lost that childlike faith because of, again, not believing in a father, not knowing who a father is supposed to be. Um, and so uh, I went the wrong way in life, so to speak. I got involved with the wrong kids. Um, I was a very violent kid because of the physical abuse that I took from my parents. I turned to drugs. I turned to alcohol. I turned to violence. Like I was trying to make myself my own man. We're looking, and it's amazing that I discovered along the way that really what a young man is trying to do in that point in time in his life is we're looking for a higher power. And so I would find that in sports. So I excelled a lot in sports and football and soccer, martial arts. And unfortunately, you know, I used it for the wrong reasons. You know, I got in a lot of street fights, a lot of bar fights. I was a very violent, angry young man. Some people turn the other way and they get really soft when they get abused, you know, or they're very quiet, shy. I went the other way. I turned into a pit bull, unfortunately. And, you know, and as time went on, I didn't like myself. And, you know, it wasn't until I met some people from Eagle Worldwide that this wonderful man started to minister to me about Jesus Christ. And when he did that, something started to stir up in me. Because I knew the Lord. I mean, I was a Catholic kid. I went to church all the time. I was surrounded by it. But I didn't know him the way that it was being described to me. And I never felt his presence physically. And when that happened, I was like, oh my God, this is real. He's real. And in that moment, I was like, I can't explain the feeling. I cannot explain the feeling. As Dr. Russ can confess, every time I came to a service, I mean, we're talking for at least a year or more. Whether it was at the revival, here, I was crying like a baby. Like I was honestly breaking down. You remember that, Pastor Maeve? You prayed over me so many times. Yes. Yes. And I would just break down, and it was like the Lord was ministering to me on his own. Like sometimes I didn't even need to go up for prayer. It was during worship. I would just break down. And it was like he was rewiring me. And like I said in the past, he put me on the operating table and he was just pulling things out. And when you get pruned, it hurts, And he would bring back memories of the things that I suffered, and it was almost like I'm going to take care of this now. I'm going to put my finger on this now, And like I said, I spent a lot of my time like in sports and in athletics because the devil had me believe that I was worthless and all I was good for was sports, and you're all brawn, no brain. And I believed that like forever. And I achieved a lot of things. I got a lot of medals. I did this, I did that. I won championships. And it was great, but what was painful about that is that I can honestly witness to you right now that not one of those, you name it, championships, medals, whatever I did, whatever achievements I achieved, not once did I ever see my parents in the crowd. And that hurt. I could never come home and say, look, Mom, look what I did. Look, Dad, look what I did. I got to a point where I would bring stuff home and I would just hide it. Eventually my mom found like a whole closet full of stuff, and she's like, where'd you get these? I'm like, well, I'll tell you one day. And that hurt. Even though you're achieving something, it hurt. So I just kept on fighting, and I kept on playing football and whatever else, whatever I could do just to keep myself from thinking about what the devil was doing to me, because I believed him. And I tell you, ever since I met this family, this is my new family. It's my spiritual mama and daddy. I want to just say to you too that thought came to mind during our graduation. And something happened when you asked me to come up and speak during our Bible school graduation. I just heard in my spirit, look, your parents are here. For the first time, my mom and dad watched me receive something, and I can't tell you what it did to me. And through this whole ordeal that God's been doing, I always wondered and I always asked them, why Hamilton? Why Canada? Why'd you bring me here? I get it now. I get it now. And he's told me many times, you're predestined. I got things for you. Just listen to me. Follow me. Look over here. Stop being distracted. Look at me. You're predestined. We're all predestined. And you know, during Bible school, and I think I shared this with Mama and Papa, I've been getting a lot of revelation and a lot of downloads, and he's been really, I mean, that rewiring he did, I don't know what he did, but he did something. And a lot of things have come to my spirit. And speaking of being predestined, he said to me during Bible school, and I believe I shared this with you. If I didn't, I apologize. I wanted to. He said to me, you've always been an eagle. You know, I'm part of Eagle Worldwide. And I can't tell you how good that feels. Being part of something, you know, that's going to make a difference in the world. That's why it's called Eagle Worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Like, all those lies, I'm not worthless. You know, and God's made me realize that. And you know what he said to me? He said, you've always been an eagle. I'm like, really? Think about it. Think about where you're from. I named you from birth. I predestined your future. You're here for a reason. And then the interesting thing is he said, look to your past. Look where you were born. I was born in a place called L'Aquila in Italy. I was born in the hospital, L'Ospedale di L'Aquila. If you go and look it up or get it translated, that means the eagle. Amen. Yeah. When he said that to me, I was just like, it's time to get some feathers. You know what I mean? Amen. Thank you for allowing me to share. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Maybe some up here, too.
If you're an eagle around here, you need yourself some thick feathers. Some thick feathers now.